Here's the challenge. Lots of humans crammed into a small space for an extended period of time, periodically needing food and potty breaks. So why would we voluntarily do this? Simple answer. It's absolutely amazing out there. In this video, I'm going to take you along on our summer road trip and share with you 6 things we learned, basically the key parts to consider for putting together a great trip, without losing your mind, of course.
Are we there yet?
On this amazing, epic road trip, we got to see Durango, Colorado, Mesa Verde National Park, Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, Grand Canyon, Sedona, White Sands National Park, and Carlsbad Caverns, and it was all awesome. So here's a look at the 6 important ingredients we're going to dive into and unpack. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share with you my 2 key takeaways. All right, let's get started. Number 1, the destination. It's road trip time, and so first things first, let's narrow down the destination. As you're getting started, there might be some important things to consider, like distance from home, direction, weather. Well, you can go ahead and throw all those out the window except for, I don't know, maybe the weather. But when talking about destination, I've found the family can be bored whether you're 2 hours away or 20 hours away. And boredom can be a vacation killer. Destination for me is all about one thing. It's all about wow factor. It's about getting somewhere new and seeing something big and beautiful. For us, we found that the national parks satisfy that big wow needed to make the road trip worth it. And of course, they're affordable, which is a big plus. Number 2, transportation. For this one, we're going to be talking about the specific vehicle that you're going to be driving on the road trip. But something to consider, possibly an upgrade rental might be in order. For this trip, we piled into our Yukon, which we're used to and have done a few road trips with. Here are some of my big struggles with a road trip in a normal car or SUV. There's no toilet. You're constantly eating out and getting sick of the fast food. And of course, my last minute hotel gamble. So I often don't book a hotel room until that afternoon, but no one wants to spend the night in the car for sure. And we often cut it super, super close. So I've been thinking about a possible solution, maybe upgrade or a rental for a Class B van. I'm becoming more and more of a believer in the van option for road trips. Now, I'm not talking about the all-in, leave it all behind van life here, but that is intriguing. However, those are super pricey, so going to have to work on that one. Dream big, buddy! Comment below with your best road trip vehicle experience. Number 3, route. Basically for this one, we are literally talking about grabbing a map and planning your drive. There are 2 options here, and both are super self-explanatory. I'm talking about the drive just being out and back, or driving it in a loop. I'm a big believer in the loop and throwing in as much to see as possible. Just an out and back can be a bit boring and hard to break up. But with the loop, you can plan in different stops and it keeps the trip on the way back as exciting as the trip out. Number 4, stops. Okay, the big offset here is your stops. And again, we're going to look at 2 parts. We're talking about unplanned stops and we're talking about planned stops. Look, I'm very much the dad here and driven, literally driven, to go from point A to point B as fast as humanly possible. But to help alleviate some of the stress, my recommendation here is to build in some planned stops. We're talking about restroom breaks, stretch breaks, food, or even like ice cream or some food that's going to be like a fun treat. Something just to get out of the car and get your legs moving again. Planning the stops will help break up the drive and tamp down some of those frustrations. Number 5, stays. For the stays, we're specifically talking about where you're going to spend the night and how long you're going to stay for. Where you stay is going to be something like hotels or Airbnb or camping. I think choosing which stay you're going to have boils down to personal preference and really look at what you're looking to get out of the vacation. Here's a kind of rule of thumb that I like to follow. For longer stay, I go with the Airbnb specifically because I want to have a kitchen and don't want to eat out that much. For the shorter stays, we'll use hotels for stops. As for camping, I think that camping is a very, very specific trip with different gear. Glamping might work, but for a road trip, actual camping, I like to pack way too much stuff, and I just don't think it'd fit in the car. Number 6, budget. Budget is a big one because these trips can get expensive quick. And it's probably why we like the natural park so much compared to something like an amusement park or Disney or something along those lines. We've done the road trip to Disney before, and just Disney by itself cost a small fortune. So hitting the national parks for us is really just a way to go. In addition to Disney, here's a few budget killers you really need to be ready for and keep tabs on. Number 1, gas. Yikes. Number 2, convenience store snacks. Running into a local Walmart or a local grocery store is going to have much better prices than grabbing them at the gas station. Basically, plan a stop to grab all your snacks and pack them in the car with you. It'll save a ton of money. Eating out every meal. Ugh, eating out every meal can just be, it can make you sick. Too much fast food is just not a good idea. So we found it valuable to go into the grocery store, grab some sandwich stuff, and do sandwiches in the car for lunches on occasion. Number 4, tours and tourist traps. Be ready to pay top dollar ticket prices for tours and tourist traps, and just shop sales as much as possible, or find a nice beach or a mountain trail where you can just go and explore for free. Number 5, souvenirs. Souvenirs, I think that the memories are really your souvenirs, and I go with that. I just personally stay cheap on the souvenir side. Number 6, hotels. This is the big one and can be a huge cost, or possibly completely free. I personally like the big hotel brands like Marriott, Hyatt, and we've just kind of found that those are the way to go because you really know what you're going to get when you show up to those hotels. And of course, a lot of times we'll get those rooms for free with points. Overall, this trip was amazing, and I think that we all absolutely loved it. It had adventure, activity, and amazing, beautiful sights to see. I always love a good road trip, and I think it gets a little better with each trip. These memories are priceless and really add value and happiness to our life. That it's important to, number 1, research, and number 2, plan. A little research goes a long way, and a good plan can make for a really great trip. Hope these tips help, and I hope that you travel well.